show is a phenomenon. People love your program. Very popular. In this show, and I was explaining it earlier in the program, you're dropped into remote areas with very little. Sometimes just one. One of the things I was watching today, a knife and a bottle of water, and that's it. And that was in some part of the Australian outback. And then you're on your own. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it's been all series. The idea is, people who get in trouble, they don't have all the gear.
Right.
So Discovery said to me, this is your background. You climb. You're a survival guy. Can we drop you in the middle of nowhere with nothing, and see how you get out?
Right.
So that's kind of the premise of the show. But it has been quite a mad year. It's
Sure.
just finished, and the new season comes out. And it's just nice to have a bit of time off.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you were trained by the British Special Forces. Is that right?
Yeah. I spent 3 years with them, and my job there was the climbing and then the survival stuff. And we'd do lots of things where, we get dropped into the middle of the European Alps in winter time with, naked apart from a pair of boots with no laces and a trench coat. And, we'd have hunter forces and helicopters and dogs and stuff after us. And, the idea is to try and get you to think fast on your feet and to, trust your instinct and really learn how to survive, I suppose, the hard way.
Yeah, a pair of boots and naked with a pair of boots and a trench coat is a weird combination too. You see those guys in the New York subway sometimes. Maybe they're part of a survival training. On the show, you have to find something to eat. You don't bring food with you, and you have eaten on the show scorpion, grubs, frogs. You drank your own urine. I actually saw that episode. And you squeezed juice from elephant dung and drank it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's all kind of...
Yes, that's true.
Nobody's going to come near me.
Yeah.
Everything in the wild is about finding water, and I've been
Yes.
in a lot of places where, I was in Australia where it's 145 degrees and 100% humidity, and I always get kind of 2 or 3 days briefing beforehand with the local rangers experts, and they said, as we were flying in to parachute in, they said if you get dropped in this sort of conditions with no survival training, no water,
Sure.
People are dead within 3 hours. So it's kind of, great, thanks guys, the door opens. So it becomes all about water wherever you can find it. And the elephant dung was, I was in Kenya following a load of elephants through the night, and I'd been taught by an old ranger. I used to help with the anti-poaching in Africa whilst I was with the army. And this ranger, I remember him always saying to me, elephant dung is sterile because their digestion is so fast. So I just followed them, caught it, and squeezed it, and it didn't taste very nice, but it's sterile, and
It really didn't taste nice? Are you sure?
Well, actually, I bought some along.
How mad does the chef get at a restaurant when you send food back? That's
Which, what? Because my work life is...
Right.
I tend to go from one extreme to the other.
Sure.
Work life in these places is quite mad, and
Right.
I tend to get... I've just been in New York for these 3 days of press, and there's a sort of sick sense of humour about sending room service back saying it's cold.
Yeah. Bring me some elephant dung. What is the most disgusting thing you've eaten? Was it on the list of things that I just mentioned, or is there something that was worse than all those things?
I've had a lot of snakes, I think actually I ate sheep's eyeballs in Iceland, I remember, which was only a couple of months ago, and it was like minus 40 degrees up on the glaciers, and I found a sheep that had died up there, and it was all kind of pretty bloated, and the meat was rotten, but the eyeballs was frozen, were fine. And I always thought if you eat an eyeball...
Lucky me!
Well, I always thought it'd be a bit like a hard-boiled egg, you'd bite, but actually it's just gristle and blood, and it just exploded in my mouth.
This crowd will not be back. You've been shooting the show, and as a viewer sometimes I think, okay, if I was in that position, I would just, oh God, I wouldn't be able to do what Bear is doing. But have you been in a situation where you wanted to call it quits, where even you got despondent and thought, that's it, I don't want to do this show anymore, I want to go home and
I've had quite a lot of those moments. I think on this last season, the producers were really keen to keep pushing the boundaries and make it more extreme, and I think if I'm honest, I was quite on the edge this time, but there was we were filming in Scotland, and actually, ironically, having been all around the world from, you know, the swamp to the Everglades to, you know, Australia, Ecuador, Amazon, all of it, actually, Scotland in many ways was the closest I've come to, you know, and the camera guy has a radio, and we can, you know, if it's really a life or death situation, we call in help and stuff. And I'd parachuted into the high mountains, I had very little kind of kit with me, and the plan was to get off very fast off the mountains, get down to the valleys, but big storm came in, you know, 50-mile-an-hour winds, I could hardly stand up, and night was coming, and I thought, you know, we're not going to live through this night unless something changes. And I found there was a deer that had fallen off a cliff, and I gutted it and ended up sleeping inside the carcass, which sort of saved my bacon.
Yeah.
But I was pretty close.
Then you had a Halloween costume for later. That's the flip side of it. Hi, everybody! I think we have a clip of that. This is, I think, you... I believe this is you in the Scottish Highlands, and I think you have a little bit of a mishap here. Let's take a look.
A thick layer of algae covers the surface of these mud pits. This makes it so hard to distinguish between what you can walk across and what you can't. Now I'm going to feel a little bit stupid if I walk across it. Absolutely fine. So here you go. Oh, God. This stuff just stinks.
That was it.
Well, no, I thought this is quite boggy, and the reason I stripped off to show that actually, you know, I thought I was going to go up to my knees or something.
Yes,
and the idea is you don't really know what you're walking on.
Right.
I had no idea it was literally just going to disappear with it.
After a day like that, you want to go home, have a hot shower, a tall glass of urine, and just relax. Just forget the whole thing.
I came out of that one thinking, you know, I need a different job.
Yeah. I need a better agent. Man vs. Wild, if you haven't seen it, it's a fascinating show. Airs Fridays at 9 on the Discovery Channel. Bear, come back, 'cause this is fascinating stuff, and we didn't scratch the surface.